Okay, well, we are here in week 3, and today we're looking at the textbook, chapters 5 and 6. So let's go ahead and get started. Today, our agenda is to go over just some really quick announcements and review, and then we're going to cover chapter 5 and then chapter 6 of our textbook. So let's start with just one quick announcement. Like I announced in our last video, we have a chance to redo a textbook quiz. You can only pick one quiz that you want to retake and try to get a higher grade on. And you need to email me to ask permission to retake a quiz and let me know which chapter you want to retake. And then I will send a new quiz to you, but it will be covering the same chapter. And you'll have a couple of days, 4 or 5 days, to do that quiz and send me the answers in an email. So T, you've already sent me your request, so I'm working on that and I'll get that quiz to you soon. The others of you are welcome to send me an email before Saturday the 25th, so you've got 2 days. All right, let's look at chapters 3 and 4. And that was from last week. You already did all the homework and everything. So did anybody still have questions about the textbook? Or T, do you have questions about finding main ideas or finding major and minor details? Questions?
No.
Okay, I wanted to look at one together just so I know that you understand it. I think it's good when we're doing these videos to get into the textbook together and look at some examples. So if you can open to page 134, let's look at number 1 together. This was your homework last week. So I hope you already did it. You already checked your answers. But I thought this one might be a good example to look at just to go over why we chose these as major details. So page 134, at the top of the page, number 1. So we're given a topic sentence, and then we're supposed to find what the major details will be. So the topic sentence is: most Mexican Americans are in the United States as a result of immigration that has taken place since 1900. Okay, so we've got 5 choices, and we need to pick which ones will be the major details. So T, can you read over a couple of those? Just look at them and see if you can pick out maybe 1 or 2 that you think would be major details that are going to support the topic sentence. Which letter? B?
No.
You think B, C, and D?
No, C and D.
C and D. Is that right?
No.
Oh, it's kind of hard to hear you on the speaker. I'm not sure why. Are you saying C and D? Oh, C and E. The problem is B, C, D, and E all sound the same in our microphones. Okay, so C and E, yes, those are the correct answers. So let's look for a moment at why. We were talking about Mexican Americans. So letter A is not related to the topic. That's Puerto Rico. So we can cross out A. Letter B is just giving a definition of immigration. But what we need to do is we need to focus more on Mexican Americans and coming to the United States. So we don't really need to have this general definition that's in B. But letter C is correct. We're talking about why. This is a reason why Mexicans moved to the United States, immigrated here. So this one is focused on the topic, and it's giving us more information about the topic sentence. So letter C is good. What about D? Well, this one is a little bit too general. Again, it's all Hispanic Americans, and they're called Latinos. We don't really care about that right now. We're trying to focus on Mexican Americans and immigration, right? So we're not going to choose D. But the last one is a correct answer as well, because again, we're focused on Mexicans and then why they came to the United States. California is part of the United States. So you are correct, T. We're going to choose C and E. All right, so that's just a quick little example I wanted to go over. This is going to help us when we get to chapter 5 today, because chapter 5 is all about main ideas, but it's a little more challenging than chapter 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, have you already started chapter 5?
Yeah, I tell you, it's hard.
Yeah, it is challenging because what we have here is we've got implied main ideas. And T, do you remember what I've said so far about implied? What does that mean if it's implied? When you think of implied, I want you to think of guess, making a guess.
Right.
Yeah, implied means it's your best guess based on what you can see, based on what you already know from the text. Okay, so how do we find a main idea if it's not stated clearly? Okay, so for example, this would be maybe if you read a paragraph and the paragraph has a lot of details, but it's missing the umbrella statement or the main idea statement. So you have to look at all the details and pay attention to them, and then that can help you guess what the main idea should be. But in this type of paragraph, you're not going to see the main idea. It will not be in the paragraph. You have to guess what it would be, and then you write it, or it might be one of the answer choices. Okay? So that's the difference between chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 4, they give you the main idea in the paragraph, and you need to find it. Chapter 5, they do not give you the main idea in the paragraph. Okay? Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's talk about how we can find the main idea, and then we're going to do an example together in your book. Okay, so like I already said, notice the first thing is to notice all the major details. So we have to get really good at looking at transitions like also, another. In some of the paragraphs you've done in your homework and also in the quiz, you've probably seen those transitions like another type or also or a third reason. Those kind of words can tell you this is going to probably be a major detail. So we're looking for those in each of our texts. And then the second step is to look for the umbrella idea that all of those major details are going to be supported by. So remember my picture of the umbrella last week. And the umbrella part is kind of the big or general idea. And underneath that, you should be able to have all of your major details that are still supported there. So we're going to practice that one in just a minute. So we have to guess what the umbrella idea will be. And then this is a good point I like to give for my my English learners is don't focus on your own thoughts or opinions about the topic. What happens is a lot of times students will read and then they have their own opinions, and they're like, oh, I know what this is about. And then they say a main idea, but it's actually not based in the text. So we have to focus on what we see in the text, the major details that are own opinions and thoughts about the topic. Okay, and then so let's do a practice together. Can you look at page 172? Let's look at page 172 together. Okay, are you there? Page one.
Yes.
Okay, so at the top, I picked this one because it's a really short paragraph that we can do here in the video, and it's got a nice little visual graph to help us. Okay, so I'm going to read the paragraph that's in the yellow box, and I want you to think about what are the major details, because in this paragraph, there's no main idea. So we're only looking for the major details. So I'll read it to us. It says, by now, most people know that the herb echinacea may help conquer the common cold. Herbal remedies that are less well known include flaxseed for treating constipation and fennel for soothing an upset stomach. In addition, the herb chamomile may be brewed into a hot cup of tea for a good night's sleep. Okay, T, what do you notice about major details? What do you think are the major details here?
I think it's another.
I still can't hear you. Can you type it in the chat box? Take your time. We're not in a hurry. Okay, they talk about herbs. That is correct. Good. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. They talk about herbs. So, um, that's right. That's what this paragraph is focused on, is the herbs. So we have 4 examples of herbs. And look in the blue box. They give you part of the major details there. The echinacea, flaxseed, fennel, and chamomile. And they want you to put in a few more details. Like for echinacea, we could say conquers the common cold,
Yes.
right? What
Yes.
about for flaxseed? What does that do? What do we need it for?
The glasses, that's well known. No.
Look for flaxseed.
Um, about remedies
Mm-hmm.
that are less well known, right?
Okay, and then we got flaxseed, and then after flaxseed, what is the next word? It says for,
How do you say that? Tom?
it says for treating constipation. You see that? Flaxseed for treating constipation. How do you say it?
Tom?
It's treating constipation. So that's what we put for flaxseed. That is what flaxseed does. It helps your digestion, basically. Okay? And fennel helps an upset stomach. So you could say soothes the stomach. And then we have our last one, chamomile helps you sleep. Okay? So we've got 4 different herbs. Now you notice there's no sentence in here that is general to include the ideas of all the herbs. There's no general sentence in this paragraph. So that means we have to imply the main idea. So look over to the right side in that blue box. You can see they kind of help you start the main idea sentence. So what do you think goes in that blank that's on the right side of the blue box? It says different what?
Different herbal.
Different herbs.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to spell it in the chat box. We have to spell it Herbs, because if we say herbal, herbal is an adjective form, and we need to have the noun for this sentence because it's a subject.
Yeah.
I would like to have you in a writing class, because in writing class we talk a lot about subjects and verbs and how to make the sentence correct. But anyways, yeah, we need a noun form. So we're going to say different herbs may be used to create a variety of elements. So that is a main idea sentence, but we had to imply that because it's not stated in the paragraph.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions?
No.
Okay, doing good. Let's go to another quick little practice activity. Look at the right side of your screen. And it says, choose the main idea from this list. Okay, so I'm going to let you try this. Here's the words that could possibly be main ideas for these topics, but you have to choose which one you think would fit. Food, vegetables, root vegetables, fruit, or citrus fruit. Okay, those are the ideas. So let's start right here. Number one, we have banana, orange, and apple. Those are my major details. What do you think will be included as a word in my implied main idea?
I think number one is fruit.
Fruit? Food? Are you saying fruit or food? Type in the chat box. Okay, fruit. All right, so you picked fruit, and fruit is not the most general word. Food is most general, but food is actually too general. We don't need to have food. We can choose something a little bit more specific, like fruit. Okay, but what about citrus fruit? Can we choose that one, number one?
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know. What does it mean?
Okay, citrus has to do with like juicy fruits that have like when you squeeze them, juice comes out. Like lemons are citrus. What else? Grapefruit is citrus. Oranges are citrus fruits. Okay,
But the number one, they have banana and apple.
yes. Apple is not citrus either. Only orange is citrus. So in that case, we have one major detail that fits with citrus fruit, but the other two details do not. So we cannot choose citrus fruit. We have to go a little bit more general. So you are correct, right, the first time, P. We need to choose fruit. So I know this is a very simple example, and I like to use food because we're all familiar with food. But remember this when you're doing your paragraphs and you're doing your quiz, okay? You want to choose the main idea that is going to include all of the major details, but it's not going to be so general, like the word food, okay? That's too general. We want to fit it exactly under what it can be. Like the umbrella would be fruit, and then we have three kinds, Okay. Let's do number 2. Now, my PowerPoint formatting messed up when I put it in Blackboard. There's supposed to be a blank here. So we have these 3 items: potato, carrot, and radish. Okay. Welcome, Alan. I see you joined us. So jump right in here. We're looking, this is just my little practice. We're trying to find, if I have these 3 major details, it's going to be in the main idea. And these are your choices up here. So I want you to answer. Oh, go ahead, T. What do you think, T?
Vegetables?
Okay, first of all, you need to say it correctly. Vegetables. Can y'all say that? Vegetables.
Vegetable.
Good. Vegetables. That's adding extra letters in there and sounds. Vegetables. Okay, good. So, Alan, you think vegetables is good?
No, root.
Root vegetables. Okay. Why do you say root vegetables?
Yeah, I think that's a
Okay, why? Why can't we just choose vegetables?
The carrot and radish just grow up from the plant, from the plant.
Okay, so there, each of these is a vegetable, but it's also a root vegetable. Is that what you're saying?
Radish.
Yeah, and I put a picture. This is a radish. This grows underground, so we call it a root vegetable. Carrots grow underground. They're a root vegetable. Potatoes also grow underground. So, yeah, these are 3 vegetables. That's true. But they're also more specifically root vegetables. So, we can choose root vegetables as part of the main idea. Okay? We cannot, we do not want to use food. That's too general. Vegetables by itself is still a little bit too general. But root vegetables is perfect because all the main ideas, or I'm sorry, all the major details can fit into that category of root vegetables. Okay? Does everybody understand? Any questions? Okay, so again, this is the simple way to illustrate my 3 keys to finding implied main ideas, okay? We're noticing all the major details. We got to categorize them, make sure we're clear about what they are. And then we can look for that umbrella idea that will include all of the details. And number 1, if we say citrus fruit, no, because only orange is a citrus fruit. Banana and apple are not citrus fruits. So we cannot use citrus fruit as a main idea. So remember that concept as you're reading through your paragraphs. Okay? All right. Any other questions about chapter 5 before we look at chapter 6? Okay, so chapter 5 will be challenging. Okay? You're looking for things that are not there. So you got to be kind of like a detective. But next week when we come back, I want to go over any questions you had, and we can clarify more if we need to, okay? My suggestion, since I do these videos at the end of the week, my suggestion is to try to do half of the textbook chapter work before I come and do the video. And that way you can ask questions about any of the exercises that are in the book. Okay, you can say, well, I did exercise 5-5 and I didn't understand number 2, you know, and I can help you before you take your quiz. That would be my suggestion, okay? Okay. Yeah, so let's continue. Let's go to chapter 6, and I want to talk about organizing information, okay? So you can look in your book at page 203. 203. Okay, so you guys are going to help me here. We're going to talk about these pictures, and we're going to look at the 5 different ways that we can organize information. Okay, so the book on page 203, it talks about 5, it lists the 5 ways. So highlighting is one way to organize information. Okay, now let's do an experiment. Can you guys, at the top of your screen, can you see the little hand that's moving around?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was hoping you could see that. At the top of your screen, do you have a little pointer or something that you can click on? Do you have that option?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want you to click on that so we can see, and I want us to do this together. We've got highlighting as our first way to organize, and I want you to choose one of these pictures. So I'm not sure if I need to share my screen or what I need to do. Oh, whose is that? Is that you, T?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is fun. So T, that you're correct. You're pointing to the example of highlighting.
Yeah.
It's those yellow marks. Okay, good. What is the second one that's listed in your book on page 203? Do you see in your book, page 203, kind of towards the bottom, there's five things they give you. Alan, do you see it?
Yes, teacher, I'm on the page.
Marking. Marking is number 2. So Alan, which one of these pictures is an example of marking the text? Yeah, and T, can you point to it? Or whoever wants to point. Okay, are you pointing to the green box?
Yes.
No, that's not marking. Yeah, that's it right there. It's the one where you see the gray circles, the question mark. Do you see over here? I drew some arrows and then I wrote some words. You know, this is just pretend, but I'm drawing arrows, I'm circling things. Question mark means, uh-oh, I don't know what this means. I need to look that up later. This is what we call active reading. All of these are examples of what we're doing when we're doing active reading. We highlight, we circle things, we organize information. And in my class, if you come to my classroom class, like after all of this coronavirus thing is over, and you're in my class, I always walk around the room and I look to see how messy your paper is. I want to see a lot of writing, circling, question marks, arrows. Alan, do you remember when we were in class in the spring?
Yeah, we were practicing in Summarizer.
Yeah, we did summarizing, and I also asked you to write in your book. Do you remember that?
Yes, yes, I remember.
Yeah, that because it's important, it shows that your brain is focused. So I want to encourage highlighting and marking as 2 things that you do while you're reading in your book, okay? So marking is circling and writing with a pencil. Let's go to the third one, outlining. Okay, take your little pointer and go to the one that's an example of outlining. Okay, we got two different answers. No problem. It's good to have a little challenging disagreement. Okay, the green, hey, you changed your answer. The green box is outline. Yes, this one where it says favorite places. This is a
Okay.
traditional outline. Why? Because it has on the left side, we have numbers like 1, 2, 3. Then when we go further in, we're getting more specific about information. We have A, B, C, D. And then if we want to give more specific minor details, we go into the right side even more. So do you see how they have 1A, 1A? Do you see that?
Yeah.
2A. They follow a pattern so that you can easily see what the major details are and the minor details. Okay, that is an outline. Okay, so yeah, that's the outline. And this is good to do as you're reading or after you read. Okay, we can do this for our novel when we're reading that, right? We can put, okay, you know, what happened in chapters 1 through 4. We can write down the specific details of that to help us remember. You can do this also with paragraphs and different types of reading, okay? Let's go to number 4, mapping. Okay, which one is a map?
This one.
Okay, so T, you say this one?
Yeah.
Okay, it's actually both. They're both examples of mapping because basically mapping means circles, squares, arrows, lines, that type of thing. So the is called a web. We have the main idea in the middle, and then the arrows are pointing towards our major details, and then another line is pointing towards minor details. Okay, so that's a visual way to look at a paragraph. And the one at the bottom is another type of map called a timeline. And this one is always chronological order. Okay, this is another really good one to do when you are studying history, right? When I was taking history class, I really liked timelines because I'm a visual learner. I do not memorize dates very well. Like if somebody said, when did the Civil War start in America? I would be like, oh God, sometime in maybe the 1840s or 60s. This is embarrassing, but I don't remember. But I remember why we had the Civil War. I remember what happened during the Civil War. I remember the people, but I don't remember the dates. So timelines are good to help you remember sequence. You know, first,
Third.
so that is another type of map.
Teacher, what's the name for this map?
Web, like WEB,
Web?
because it's supposed to look like a spider web.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like a little. Well, at least that's what I call it. Your book might give it a little bit of a different name. Oh, in your book they call it a hand-drawn map. Well, that's boring. I think we should call it a web. It kind of looks like a spider web after you've done it.
Yeah, well,
Okay. So let's go to our last one,
sorry?
number 5. What is number 5? The fifth way to organize.
Summarizer?
Yeah. page 203, you'll see that summarizing is number 5. Okay, this one is the hardest one to do, I believe, from all of these. And in my next slide, I'm going to show you a little bit more about how to summarize. I did not include a picture of summarizing here because it's not really a visual, you know, it's not a map, it's not really an outline. So I didn't put a picture here. Okay. So let's go to my next slide and we'll talk about how to summarize. Okay, I gave you specifically a couple of pages in your chapter that are going to give you good activities for summarizing, okay? But Alan, I know you know a little bit about what a summary is, but let me ask T first. T, do you know what a summary is? Yeah, if I say, okay, I want you to summarize this paragraph, you know, do you know what that means?
Yes.
What is it?
When they talk about the story, the short way.
A short version?
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, good. And Alan, do you agree or do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, cool.
It's a resolution?
No, no.
What did you say? Right, it's a reduction. So it's a reduction of the original, but it still includes the information. So we're not taking out the main points, but we're just shortening the original size and we're taking out some of the minor, smaller details. Okay. So you guys get to practice doing this in the book. They're going to give you a long, like a 5 or 6 paragraph essay or article, and then you have to choose what the summary will be. So it'll be a good practice for you to look at that. Do you guys have your books with you? Okay, let's look together at page 225. Just to give you, oh no, that's not the one. Where's the one? Maybe it's the 217. Oh yeah, that's page 217. Look at page 217, exercise 6-6. Okay, do you see number 5 at the bottom? It says, after reading the following paragraph, select the choice that best summarizes each one. So we don't have time to do all of this in class. It's a lot of reading. But just, I want you to look at the size. Look at number 5 where it starts with the tourist. Flip the page.
Sorry, teacher. What page?
Yeah.
I could
Page
find
217
it.
at the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do you see number 5? We're not going to read it in our video thing here, but I just want you to look at it where it says the tourist. Okay, look at that and turn the page, and do you see the end of the paragraph? It ends with dollars. See that?
Yeah, yes.
It's kind of a long paragraph. How many sentences do you think are in here, in this paragraph? Maybe 4, maybe 5. I think there's about 4 sentences, but some of them are long. Okay, so we have the original text that's about 4 or 5 sentences. Now look at page 218. Look at the A, B, C, D. Do you see those?
Yes.
Are they shorter or longer?
Shorter?
Yeah, they're shorter. They're maybe 2 sentences or 3 sentences. So that's one thing we need to remember. A summary is always shorter. Okay. What else do we need to remember about a summary? Look at my notes on the screen here. It says always include the main idea. So you cannot leave the main idea out of a summary. You got to keep it in there. You always include the major details as well. But you can put maybe 2 major details, you can put them into one sentence if you want in a summary, okay? So you can squeeze them together, but you have to include all the major details when you're writing a summary. And then the third point is always make the summary a half or a half to a fourth of the original text. So that means it's smaller. So if your original text is one whole page, then your summary needs to be a half a page or less. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last point is always use your own words. Don't copy. Some students are like, oh, I can do this summary. Let me just pick out a couple of sentences from the original. No, you cannot copy in a summary. You have to condense it, revise it, make it smaller, make it shorter. Like, for example, if my main or original text has, 5 major details and each one has a couple of sentences about it, I can shorten it. I can put 2 major details into one sentence and maybe 2 other major details into another sentence. And so I'm shortening it, but I'm still including the major details. And you need to use your own words. So my suggestion when you're writing summaries is to read and take notes and then close your book and then get out a piece of paper and try to remember what you have. Or you can make an outline and you have your main idea and you have your major details and then you write your summary because you cannot copy exact words. Like you can't copy a whole sentence. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
No.
Okay. So we're doing good. Well, we're kind of going a little fast here today. Do you guys want to do a practice together or do you want to go and talk about your quiz, chapter 4? That was pretty difficult. What do you guys want to do?
This together, I think it's
Okay.
better.
Okay. T, you want to do a practice for summary together?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. While we're all here, we can do it together. Okay, why don't we just do that one then? The tourist, bottom of page 217. It will take you a couple minutes to read it, but take your pencil. I want you to look for look for the major details. Try to find a main idea, and then you're going to choose A, B, C, or D. One of those is going to be a good summary. Okay, so I'm going to mute my microphone and read as well, and then in about maybe 5 minutes, we'll come back and answer it together, okay? All right, so we're doing number
Yes.
5 on page 217. All right, here we go. Okay, about 1 more minute. This is kind of challenging, right?
Yes.
Okay, so does anybody have an answer yet?
Yes, I do.
Okay, T, do you have an answer or do you need time? Okay. Okay, what do you think, T? Letter C? Okay, Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, me too. I think letter C is the best summarizer.
Okay, you guys are correct. Great job. Letter C is the best. Now, can someone give me an idea of why? Why did you choose C?
Because letters include main idea and major
Mm-hmm.
details, and some of these other other summarizers, they also include those things, but they copy the text, and letter C
Okay.
didn't copy.
Okay. So letter A, I said was too specific. They're giving too many minor details like Kenya, and it's not really summarizing it. It's just kind of being too specific, like the 2.2%. We don't need to say that in our summary. We just need to give the idea of that, which is political instability, right? So letter A was too specific. Um, and then B was too general. I don't know what the A's are. It says the 3 A's. But those A's are important. Those are the major details. So I have to include those. So B is not good. C, do you see how they restated the main idea? They did not copy the main idea, but they have those major details: accessible, accommodation, attraction. But they use their own words. And then also, it kind of summarized the second part of the paragraph about the activities, the weather, and being politically stable. So yeah, C is good. Letter D is missing the word accessible. They only mentioned attraction and accommodation in D. So letter D is missing some important information. So you guys are correct. Letter C. Good job. Any questions?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about what's coming up next. Lab 2 is due tomorrow at midnight. Do your best to turn that in so I can grade it before our next video. And then the chapter 6 homework, there's a homework assignment on page 207. It's about highlighting, to practice highlighting. The problem is your answer key does not give the answer. So if you want me to check the highlighting that you do on page 107, then you'll need to take a picture and upload it or put it in an email. so I can see what you highlighted. And then I will give you feedback on how well you did with that. I remember when I was in college, there was a couple of students, I would look over at their book, and the whole book was covered in highlighter. It was like yellow or pink, and I thought, wow, that makes me dizzy. When you're highlighting, you don't want to highlight everything because then there's no point. So they give you a few tips on that. Look for the main idea and the major details. So that's instructions for that one. Chapter quizzes, keep up with those as best you can. And then our next video will be Monday at 1.